Major battles of the Civil War. The first Battle of Bull Run, or Manassas, fought on July 21, 1861, was the first major battle of the Civil War. At this point, the seriousness of the war had not yet been realized by many in the North. Spectators from Washington, D.C. sat on a hill overlooking the battlefield, planning to parade all the way to Richmond after a Union victory. The battle was confusing, with both the Union and the Confederate soldiers wearing similar uniforms and flying similar flags. The troops were untrained, and soldiers on both sides lost their lives from friendly fire. When it looked as though the Union Army would be victorious, Confederate General Thomas Jackson united his troops and earned his famous nickname, Stonewall. The Confederate Army overpowered the Union troops, and the battle ended with a shocking Union defeat. In April 1861, after the secession of the Southern states, President Lincoln used the Union Navy to blockade Southern ports. The blockade blocked goods from entering or exiting Southern ports and cut the South off from getting much-needed war supplies. In March of 1862, a major sea battle between the Monitor, for the Union, and the Merrimac, for the Confederate, took place in Virginia waters near the present-day cities of Norfolk and Hampton. The Merrimac was able to disable several Union ships before the Monitor came. In the end, the Merrimac was unable to break the Union's blockade. This battle between two ironclad ships was fought to a draw. Like Stonewall Jackson, Robert E. Lee was a general in the Confederate Army. Before the fighting started, though, he was President Lincoln's first pick to lead Union forces against the South. After 36 years of service to the United States Army, Lee made the very difficult decision to resign. He could not go to war against his family and his state, Virginia. He said, "I could take no part in an invasion of the Southern states." Soon afterward, Lee took command of the Army of Northern Virginia, fighting on the side of the Confederates. On December 11, 1862, General Lee led his forces against Union General Ambrose Burnside in the Battle of Fredericksburg in Virginia. Confederate troops were severely outnumbered, but they had a strong position on the hills and the talented leadership of General Lee. After 4 days of awful battle, the Confederacy was victorious, with the Union troops suffering great losses. Morale was at an all-time low for the Union troops, and over 86,000 deserted their positions. Confederate independence started to seem like a real possibility. The Union had its share of war heroes as well. One such hero was Ulysses S. Grant. President Lincoln gave Grant command of all Union troops. Near the end of the war, the Confederates evacuated Richmond, the capital of the Confederacy. The retreating soldiers were under orders to set fire to bridges, the armory, and warehouses with supplies as they left. Grant led the Union Army into the burning city and captured it in early April 1865. The Civil War will end on April 9, 1865 at Appomattox Courthouse. Confederate General Robert E. Lee will surrender to Union General Ulysses S. Grant. 5 days later, President Abraham Lincoln will be shot at Ford's Theater by John Wilkes Booth. April 15, 1865, President Lincoln was dead.